cross-vaccination in the sense of, let's say you started doing KEPI vaccines, 6 weeks, 10 weeks, and then at 14 weeks, maybe you come across some money, or, you emigrate. You could be in a different country and you find that what they are giving is slightly different from what you got. One vaccine can't be replaced by another, because let's say there were shortages. Would you not vaccinate children? Or you are in a different country, or you are traveling, or your child reacts to one vaccine, but you still want to vaccinate again. You might be able to try a different vaccine that is. So when there is no rationale in saying that if I started with baby-friendly vaccines, I cannot convert to what the government provides. There is no such thing as government vaccines. The government does not make vaccines. Actually, the number of vaccine-making companies are very few. So half the time you'll find that the same companies that are providing vaccines to the government are the same companies that sell to the private sector, are the same companies that make the baby-friendly vaccines. So with the guidance of your doctor, and hopefully that your doctor is also giving you the right information about these things, because the problem with vaccines is there's a lot of confusion that surrounds vaccines, and you also find doctors who are not shedding light. They are actually adding more fuel to the fire of doubting vaccines. So now you have this anti-vaccination movement, or people saying measles, mumps, rubella causes this, or like the recent polio vaccination drive. In my mind, it's very clear why we've had problems with that polio vaccine. There were so many sick children. I mean, all hospitals in Nairobi were fully booked. So you end up in a situation where, let's say 30%. I mean, even schools, if you go through the register for schools, they had absentee rates that we've probably never seen before. Sometimes as many as 30% of children in a class are not there. So we were giving sick children vaccines. And ideally, if a child is unwell, you shouldn't give them a vaccine, because you already have an activated immune system from whatever condition they have. Then you add something else that hyperactivates that immune system again. Of course, you're going to have problems. So half of the children and I've seen it myself, half of the children that we are seeing today having had like bizarre effects after they've gotten the polio vaccine were probably sick to start with, and then they were given the vaccine. And then, of course, their immune system went haywire. Half the time is the problem with the illness. It's not the illness itself. The bacteria will probably die out after a while. It's your immune system. Now, that's the difference between an adult getting chickenpox and a child getting chickenpox. The child's immune system is immature. It cannot mount much of an immune response. So they get away scot-free. And adults, though, that is a fully developed, fully functional immune system. So it will bring out the big guns. So I hope that clears up the understanding of vaccines. Yeah. What would recommend for all parents is, within reason, try and do, vaccines are like insurance. Try and do the vaccines that are recommended for your child. Because you don't want one day your child getting chickenpox as a 22-year-old, and then they probably miss school for 6 months, because chickenpox can be fatal, for example. Or you find out that your child is blind because they got meningitis at 1 year, and yet the vaccine is available. And if you look at the long-term costs of some of these illnesses vis-a-vis how much the vaccination costs, any day, I think I would go for the vaccination, yes. And of course, we also need to put pressure on our representatives, because the government needs to get more and more vaccines on its schedule, so we're not paying for them. If we cannot spend money on vaccination, what can we spend money on? I mean, it's one of the easiest interventions in ensuring that we have a healthy population, vaccination. And some of these vaccines would actually be recommended even for older people. Anyone who has diabetes, anyone who's having hypertension, any person over the age of 65 would probably benefit from vaccination against against pneumonia, against let's say things like even meningitis itself, against the flu, against, let's say they are hanging out with their grandchildren, against your diphtheria, whooping cough, tetanus. So I think we also need to put pressure on our government to understand that vaccinations should actually be part of our national health system, that everyone is getting vaccines, and we're getting as many vaccines as reasonable.